Eureka! You found us! Welcome to the Check Out California radio show, your key to California hospitality. Hosted by Rad Gantos, principal of Rad Gantos and Associates, a hospitality and commercial real estate design firm, and Craig Sullivan, executive vice president of Park West GC, a hospitality and commercial real estate general contractor. Check Out California is focused on our state's hospitality, travel, and tourism markets, and on the large part they play in California's vibrant and innovative economic diversity and unique quality of life. Now, here are your hosts, Rad Gantos and Craig Sullivan.
Good afternoon. I am Craig Sullivan.
And I'm Rod Gantos.
And welcome to Check Out California. We have a special guest with us today.
Hold on.
Okay.
That's all right. Deena, I'm sorry. Just hold on for a second.
Hold on, Deena.
Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
You can't see us?
We can see
you. You know what we look like.
Yeah, but, I'm staring at a blank screen.
Okay, Paul, we're not that blank. Can you give us a little depth, please? Okay, while he's working on it.
Here's the issue. Because we were racing to get the show set up here. Deena's got to get a little close, much closer to the mic so we can barely hear her. So wherever she's talking into, we got to get her much closer.
That's going to be bizarre, but
much closer.
I'm on my desktop.
Yeah, can you lean in towards it closer?
Or pull this.
That's okay.
Pull
What
this.
if I project? Is that better?
Well, because we can't see it with your face isn't being shown on the podcast here. We're just using Skype to get your voice in here.
Oh, I thought it was a whole video.
Oh no, we can't do that.
Sorry, Deena. Didn't know.
Camera ready. Makeup, hair, and
Okay.
No,
So we're gonna take a picture of Paul's screen, and we'll have you on there at the picture. You look great, by the way.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, but okay, I'm sorry we're not doing video, but that's fine.
I can pull your picture on my phone and just stick it next to the camera.
I can try and add it in, but it's not easy.
I'll tell you what. When we go for the break, we'll try to add it in for the second half. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So if we could do that, if we could get you closer,
I want to do something. So you can't see us, but imagine this. I had a person on my show just a few minutes ago that talking about forgotten Hollywood and Hollywood history. So I'm just doing some house cleaning, getting these books out of the way. And,
I love Hollywood.
And since we are on the aftermath of the Click Conference 2, and it was a sellout success to Mr. Craig Sullivan's leadership and everybody's involvement, including Deena's, and he was foolish enough to have me actually, moderate a panel and stuff like that. So I just want to basically award you something, Greg. In the spirit of Hollywood, I would like to award you
a new microphone.
This new microphone that looks like for Deena's purposes, it looks like a Larry King microphone. And the reason is because Greg, whenever we're sitting in a studio with a guest, actually blocks me. So Paul got him another microphone so that we could basically. You know what? You look good with this microphone. I'm kind of jealous right now.
It's an old RCA style microphone.
It's an old RCA style.
That's what they used to do in the 40s. That was the classic look of the microphones
He
in the 40s.
kind of looks like Howlin' Wolf right there.
I got to grow the beard and the hair.
So anyway, so there you go. So you've been awarded. I just want to recognize,
Thank
all your efforts and everything. And Deena, thank you for being on the show with us.
You're welcome. Are we live?
We are
We
live.
are live, yes.
Okay.
And let me give everybody a little bit of background on Deena. Deena Balkowitz is the Chief Networking Officer and co-founder of the Fireball Network. She is a professional speaker, networker, coach, and trainer. She advises organizations and individuals on marketing, branding, networking, and presentation skills. And true to her brand, she is the real Fireball. So we met about 10 years ago. Deena, welcome to the show, and I do apologize that you don't have the video component, but we will try and get that in at the break.
At the break.
Okay, not a problem. Being adaptable and flexible is what business is all about, right?
That's it.
And for those who don't know, where are you joining us from, Deena?
Well, today I am in New York City in the middle of a raging snowstorm.
Another northeaster.
So I'm hoping you guys will share some of
We
that
got 4 of them.
California warmth and sunshine with us.
No, it's raining here, so breaking news. Nobody knows how to drive in this freaking state when it's moist outside. So the 405 will be even more obnoxious than normal. and I understand that 45 has declared that fake news. So,
Well, I just saw a drop hit the window. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could take a picture and just feed it to his account.
there
right?
we go.
Oh, I could send you snowstorm pictures. You want whose storm is bigger than
Are you gonna play this game again? I met you for what is it, like a day and a half, and she was already playing that game. My snowstorm is bigger than your snowstorm.
Well, I'm also Canadian, so I'm used to snowstorms that are actually bigger than me.
What happened to keeping it short and sweet?
Yeah, no, I mean when the snow is 5 feet high, I'm buried.
You're buried.
You
You're
guys
underground.
have met me.
So
I'm not that tall.
Deena, for people that are listening to us, why don't we just get a little housekeeping out of the way here? Why don't you give people your website, and that way they can follow with us?
Yes, fireballnetwork.com. Fireballnetwork.com. I'm on Instagram as Fireball Deena, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So you'll find me as Fireball Deena. You'll find the company as Fireball Network. And as you said, intro was great. We do coaching, marketing, branding, networking, and presentation skills for companies and for individuals.
And we're going to be talking about that relevant to the hospitality industry today. So anybody who's listening to us or watching us, if you're listening on octalkradio.net by clicking that Listen Live button, you can also see us and hopefully Deena after the break on Facebook as well as YouTube OC Talk Radio. And I believe we are also feeding on Check Out California on Facebook.
I believe so.
I believe so. So if you have any questions for Deena, you can reach out to her directly, or Paul, if they want to call or they want to tweet, what do they do?
949-330-7761. 949-330-7761. Operators standing by. And if they want to tweet, hashtag OC Talk Radio.
So, you and I, Deena, were talking a little bit about this at the conference about the importance of branding, and you came up with even a hashtag, Invest in California.
Yes.
That I thought was brilliant, and we started using. I've been putting it on a lot of our stuff for Check Out California. In this industry, for those that tell you, well, there's a lot of brands that are already out there. There's a lot of, there's a lot of existing identities and stuff like that. What do you say in today's market? How important are these things in today's market?
It's critical. I mean, whether you're an individual, whether you're a hotel brand, whether you're a design firm or a construction company or an on-air talent, the marketplace is noisy and busy. And how you stand out is how people remember you. And I always say, what do you want to be remembered for? If you're in a room full of 100 of your competitors or 100 people with the exact same experience and education as you, what will people remember about you? So, for example, for me, as a marketing consultant, as a coach, as a branding advisor, there's lots and lots and lots of coaches, consultants, advisors, agencies out there. My brand is Fireball Network. The name itself stands out. It matches my personality, and it's also the energy and the approach that I want my clients and my network to think of. It's a network. I'm about bringing people together, and you get that right in the title of my company.
Can I just say also that you and Greg's known you a lot longer, but I will say,
just a couple of days.
Just a couple of days, yeah. so there's some stories there I don't know that I want to hear, but
you're going to.
But I'm going to. I'm sure,
yes,
right?
We're going to tell them today.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to tell them.
But I will say that.
Welcome to the open confessional.
You going Catholic on me again? St. Patty?
No.
Sully's confessional hour will be coming to you soon.
Yes.
Brought to you by Fireball Network.
That I can play dominoes better than you.
Save that for another show. This is my show.
No, I think go ahead, Greg. Yeah.
Deena.
Yes.
Networking's important, branding's important, and it's all important for both the individual and the company, correct?
Absolutely.
And they intersect, and how do you develop those for people?
Well, I'll give you an
companies?
analogy that I made up on the spot at a job interview for the last job I had before I started my company. And they said, what's the difference between marketing and sales? And I said, look at it this way. Marketing, branding, networking, business development, think of those as the design, construction, engineering, and project management phase. The final sale is your building, your hotel, your real estate office. So they're all you can't have design without engineering if you want to build a building. You can't have project management if you don't have architects and contractors to manage. So that's the way I look at it, is these are all interrelated components. And they are different. You know, networking is, for me, and I would say for anyone who's successful, the beginning and the end. Your relationships with people will make or break your success.
Right.
Hey, I can see you.
Hey.
There we go. Hi, Deena.
Right, relationships. Real life, in person, meeting people at conferences, working the room, getting together for coffee and lunches, and making introductions for other people. Online is great. Online is critical. Conferences are critical, and content like blogs and podcasts like this and videos.
Right.
Websites, those are all important, but you guys know this. It's the relationships. It's who you know, who knows you, what do they know about you.
So how important, Deena, and I'm going to pull one of those things where I kind of have a sense of the answer, but I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Sure.
Okay, is how important in today's sensory overload, okay, overexposed, too much information, I just want to turn it off and not be wired. How important is things like the word genuinely, authenticity, genuineness, like things that are not just superficial differentiators, but are really a reflection. And what I was starting to say earlier is when I've only met you for a very short period of time compared to Greg, but when you say your personality, your brand, there's an authenticity to who you are that is reflected in the name. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think you can't pull off fake anymore.
No. I mean, I agree with you. You can't pull it off. And think about when you're meeting someone at a networking event or you're meeting someone on a project site. Let's assume everyone is a pretty decent judge of character, right? We all have, we all have some instinct.
Some of us are more jaded than others, but that's okay. I love them anyway.
I see the world through rose-colored glasses, so I'm an optimist.
Yeah, but that's your firebrand,
maybe
right?
My social work background as well. We'll look for the best in people.
Yeah.
But assuming you take people at face value, they may be shy, they may be a little nervous, they may be insecure. That's okay. I can get past all of that, and usually people who are a bit shy or insecure at networking events are good for me to meet because that tells me they need my services. They need help learning to network
right,
better.
it's a leader, a lead generator. Yeah.
Yeah. So the difference between someone who, for example, is just standing by themselves and is sort of buried in their phone because they don't know a lot of people is different than somebody who just has that, you know what, don't bother me, I'm busy with my phone, I'm looking for somebody else better to talk to.
Right.
You can tell who's authentic and who isn't. If I came up to you and said, yeah, my services are better than anybody else, and here's why you should hire me, and we're going to take a meeting, and you're going to love me, and you're going to... That just sounds completely sleazy. But if I walked up and said, hey, tell me what you do, here's what I do, I'd love to get to know you better.
Right.
Like, as simple as that basic, let's truly get to know each other for who we are. And too many people, I think, feel that pressure of having to sell on the spot. And that's where you get that sticky, sleazy, salesy.
Well, does that even work anymore, Deena? I mean, I know that it had a place.
Go to any car lot in California.
Yeah, but does it? I mean, I'm not talking about in terms of are there people out there doing it. I'm just talking in terms of effort and efficiency. Okay, you can almost call it manipulatively. I'm going to put effort out to achieve a result. Does that kind of behavior even work anymore in terms of achieving anything? Because I would think that an increasingly information-saturated environment where people are more exposed by virtue of just waking up and looking at their phone, that when you walk into a situation like this where somebody's actually taking that approach, that sales approach, if you will, that it doesn't have as much of a success rate anymore than it used to, maybe.
No, it does. I mean, think about it. If somebody came up to you like that, well, how would you react?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying just in general, I don't think that works anymore. I mean, I think
No,
for those that are holding on to that as being somehow, the approach or the mannerism in which they basically achieve sales, it's just a slippery slope. You're not going to succeed anymore with people the way they are these days.
Well, doesn't it also, Deena, get down to your intentions behind that? I mean, you and I met at a conference roughly 10 years ago.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We saw each other a few times during the conference, said hi, how are you, and kind of shuffled around 2,000 other people. Then the last day of the conference, what happened?
So it was the day after the conference. A lot of people had gone. Some people were still left. And I think both of us, being great networkers, were thoroughly exhausted from talking and running around and working the room.
Yep.
And I remember you were crashed on a lawn chair in the middle of
The afternoon, let me point that out. The afternoon, okay.
It was like 1 o'clock.
I'm getting a picture.
I remember I had plans. I was going to visit another friend in California, because I'm a social butterfly. Like I'm getting out of a conference. I'm on a high for meeting all these people. So I want to just keep the energy and the momentum going.
Right.
So yeah, I sat down. You said pull up a chair. I pulled one up anyhow. You helped me with it, and then we just started talking. And we weren't selling each other anything because
Right.
first of all, we're both at the conference. It's a hotel conference,
Right.
so we assume that we're in the hotel industry.
Right.
But we started talking about our backgrounds,
Right.
and we found out that we had a lot in common in terms of you're coming from arts and entertainment and music and film. And I'm coming from theater and entertainment, both on the performance side and the marketing side of it.
Right.
And it was a really lovely, relaxing chat in the middle of the day, which happened to be after a conference. And we stayed in touch. Here's the thing. Every conference after that we were at,
Right.
we stayed in touch. And 10 years later, when you launched Click and you called me and said, okay, marketing, branding, networking, like, how can we work together on this? And our phone calls were one idea after the other.
Absolutely.
Non-stop ideas and energy.
So
And contacts, sharing contacts, right? I said, you got to get more women into the conference. You said, I do. I joined Crew. And as you know, I'm very involved with commercial real estate women. That's how I got into the hotel industry, in fact. So this is a good story. I was working for an architecture firm as the director of business development, and they wanted to get into the hotel industry and design boutique hotels. So I reached out to the women in my real estate network and said, okay, here's the situation. What advice can you give me? And they recommended all the top hotel conferences and individuals and organizations and said, here's what you need to do. Here's where you need to go. And I followed their advice, and that's how I made contacts. And so for you, fast forward, you joined Crew. We had an amazing contingent of women at Click on International Women's Day.
Yep, we did.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was truly one of the highlights for me of the conference. And the other thing was you being able to come out and, we'll let the cat out of the bag now. And I haven't talked to my planning committee yet, so they can find out this afternoon as well. Deena's going to be moderating a panel at Click 3. So we're not going to tell anybody about networking, marketing, branding, but we're not going to mention that. So, but I'm very excited about that, and there's some really great changes coming up with Click 3, and Deena and I have been talking prior to the conference we just had, and we're talking now at least once or twice a week, plus texts and emails and social networking. So it's
Don't worry, I'm billing him for it.
Yeah. That means we're going to charge higher fees next year.
And for
I can be your consultant and I can be your friend, but you get charged for one of those.
but is the rate different? Is the question. So
Higher, my friend. There's more demand.
There you go.
Yeah, I know what you're all about. I'm charging you the higher rate. Okay. For those who are listening who don't know about Click, you can check out what probably are the pictures up from this year? Yes?
Some of them.
Some
we
of them?
had some. I'm going to be gracious about this. We had some technical difficulties with the camera. There are a few up right now that are on the dark side. And I've got to get with somebody to see if they can actually lighten these digital photographs up so that they look nice.
But there's information on the website, and
there's
website
information
is
up there. It's cliconference.com. We're going to be launching a new website shortly. We've got information about Click 3 coming up after probably the middle of May. But we do have all of the information decks from the brands and from Alan Ray, Bruce Ford, all up on the website to be downloaded.
Right.
And right now, we're running a survey with all the attendees and sponsors, and we are at, I think, 78% on an excellent rating.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting to get the rest of the results in, and then we'll be posting the program from the conference.
I'm going to go out on a limb and
go
say
from there.
that your end result's going to end up being excellent anyway.
Most of it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean there was some positive and constructive feedback that was shared with some of us, and I think it just gets better year after year. So as we go to the break,
3D next year.
yeah. So this program's going to just keep coming at you like that, right? There's your 3D. There's your Click 3D.
Click 3D.
I think we need another
We spare no cost at the studio here with Paul.
Hey, ILM, watch out. We're coming for you.
So go check it out, and I will tell people as we go to the break, is check it out early, get involved early, get engaged as a sponsor or as a vendor. Buy your tickets early, because the last 2 years it's been in existence, it has sold out.
Sold out last year on the day of the event at 232 attendees. This year we sold out a couple of weeks beforehand at 291.
And the benchmark of its success is it's moving to another location so it can accommodate more people, hopefully. So basically, go check it out, and we're going to go to a break, and we're going to come back, and hopefully we'll have Deena visually with us as well as her lovely voice. Paul?
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today, and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit axpgold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at axpgold.com.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, you'll know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret, with 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge, with the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days, all with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information.
Do you want a free analysis of your inbound marketing? Do you want it in 30 seconds or less? Then check out Marketing Grader, the free marketing tool from HubSpot. It's simple. Just go to marketinggrader.com, enter the URL that you want to analyze, and Marketing Grader will instantly give you a detailed report grading your lead generation, mobile marketing, social media, competitive benchmarking, and more. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's free. marketinggrader.com.
I'm on the observation deck of the Empire State Building to demonstrate how much material Waste Management recycles. As North America's largest residential recycler, last year alone, Waste Management recycled 12.9 million tons. How much is that? Let's do the math. Carry the 6. It's enough to fill this building more than 27 times. With experience like that, we're bound to have a program that can help your business recycle. Talk to Waste Management or visit thinkgreen.com.
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit axpgold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at axpgold.com.
And we're back. I'm Craig Sullivan. And that's Rad Gantos staring at the screen.
Tune in.
All right. So
anyhow, welcome back. Check Out California. Deena.
Yes.
Tell us, how do we incorporate social media into marketing and branding and networking for personal, professional properties, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and whatever the next big thing is? How do you make that all work?
I could give you all that in the next 5-10 minutes, no problem.
I know you can. That's why I asked.
Yeah, well, for example, right, the video that I just put together, took my phone, did a quick little, hey kids, calls, getting ready to record on OC Talk Radio, tune in, while I was waiting for the ads. Maybe it was a 14, 15-second video, and just posted it straight to Facebook. I could post it to Instagram, Twitter, my website. Here's the thing. There's so much going on these days with digital marketing. There's so many places to reach people.
Right.
The key is really knowing for your brand and for your client base where you need to be. So, for example, I work with architects, engineers, lawyers. Lawyers are not going to be posting on Instagram so much.
Probably a good idea.
Well, right? I don't know. There's a couple of attorneys that are making all the news channels
They're kind of hovering around DC, actually, right about now.
But, okay, overall, right? You get what I'm saying. Like, if your business is banking or suit and tie, lawyers are not going to get
corporate attorneys are not
by posting cute vacation videos on Instagram. Yeah. However, it is still a good way to connect with people and stay top of mind and let people know who you are, personality, your interests are outside of or in addition to your work. So, for example, when I met my lawyer, it was at a networking event for women in real estate, and another client of mine had invited me, and it was at a clothing store, so she was trying on shoes, right? Classic woman thing. And I said, oh, those are really cute shoes, but that beige is boring. You should go with the hot pink, the mango. She's like, oh, yeah, you're right. We start talking. And here's the thing. You take shoes, and then you turn it into a business conversation. What do you do? I'm a lawyer. What practice areas? And she said, well, I work in real estate, intellectual property, and corporate. I said, that's a pretty broad range. She said, yeah, I get bored a lot. And right away, the bells went off in my head because I said, me too. Will you be my lawyer? And it's, become the perfect fit for me and for her. So the thing is, for your business, where are your clients? Are they on LinkedIn? Most likely. It's the world's professional network. Are they on Angel List? Well, that's possible for startups and VCs and up and coming new technology. Where are the technology companies living? They're not necessarily using LinkedIn the same way the lawyers are.
Right.
Instagram, Pinterest, anything highly visual for the brands is an exceptional opportunity. And that's where you also have to learn about advertising and stories and sponsored features and content because you're reaching millions and millions of people. But as an individual, my Instagram feed is just pictures of me networking and the radio show and my dance classes. And it gives people a sense of who I am.
Right.
And so when Glenn Hausman said to me, he goes, your social media really reflects your personality and who you are and what you do. I said, oh, that's great. That was what I was going for, but I wasn't sure because that's the other thing. Ask people for advice. Ask people for feedback. It's hard to keep up with all the constant changes in social media, in digital marketing, in advertising. There's always something new to learn. So just in this week alone, I met with a woman who is an expert in digital marketing, got her advice. I went to a networking event, a program on the modernization of learning and development within companies. I'm here with you guys today. Tomorrow, I'm speaking at the Bar Association on the art of schmoozing.
Nice.
And then Friday, I'm doing another podcast for changing
Wait
women
a minute.
in
Wait a
business
minute.
for
Hold
Elevate
up. So you're going to go talk to a bunch of lawyers about how to talk to
The
each
art
other?
of schmoozing.
Well, schmoozing and talking is two different things.
Spoken like a real Irishman, actually.
Hey, we're talking about networking here, guys.
No, no, Deena, you raise a lot of good points, and before we get too far away, I just want to point out again that everybody's got a Facebook account, everybody's got a LinkedIn account, everybody's got an Instagram account, and here's both the blessing and the curse, in my opinion. You got to have a strategy. You got to have a sense, and it can be manipulative. You could curate a personality on social media that is absolutely got nothing to do with reality. If you want to go down that path, period of time, you'll have, authenticity actually is because you are who you are. You are your own brand. If you're in like a few friend of mine that are basically in sort of the lifestyle and food and kind of like culture and fashion kind of thing. Don't put every picture of your profile shot with you with a glass of wine in your hand, because guess what? Unless you're being sponsored by those wineries, you look like a friggin' alcoholic, right? To some people, especially if they're sensitive to that because of their own family history. So you got to have a strategy. You got to need the advice and guidance of somebody like Deena, who basically is looking at this from a different perspective. But yes, you have to basically be true to who you are, and it can be a very powerful platform to amplify that sound. And it's different on every single platform, don't you think, Deena?
It is different. And so for that brand, right, a lifestyle brand, what is the brand in addition to the wine? Wine, food, people, design, decor. You could do a picture just of the silverware and the china and the dishes. There's so much around lifestyle brands, and the hospitality industry is lifestyle, right? What is it? It's where you sleep, where you eat, where you work, where you go on vacation, where you connect with people. So where there's entertainment as well, and different climates, different environments. It's about learning and exposing yourself to new cultures. Or it can also be, I want what I'm used to. I want the same, environment that makes me happy and comfortable. For somebody else, that's different. So knowing what is you, and by you, I say it could be you as an individual, you as a company, you as a brand.
Broad-based, absolutely.
Right? As you said, genuine, authentic. And brands have these conversations all the time. Who are we? Who do we want to be? What is our tone? And I write and I do videos and I post social media. Being able to understand someone's tone of voice, a corporate tone of voice, is really critical. How do you speak to your guests in a language that lets them know who you are and that you understand them? So a conservative brand will be different than a really young, techy, innovative brand.
And it's a living thing. I mean, it is impacted and impacts its surrounding. It is impacted by changes in the market or changes in personnel or changes in demographics. Weather. I mean, the point of branding is a lot of people will look at it as an exercise that happens at a certain point and then that's it. Now we've got it in a nice little box. It's a living, breathing thing that has to constantly be asked. The question of who we are, what do we stand for, how to act. I mean, good brands are responsive. Good brands, in my mind, are ones that reflect conditions that are of interest to the people that are basically looking at them either for guidance or as a reflection of reality. I mean, and for people that, and this is somewhat maybe easier when it comes to a company or to a product, but when it comes to individuals, a lot of times people don't even know who the heck they are to begin with, and now we're trying to project that into the megaphone of social media, and it's very easy to make mistakes that will basically haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you're posting. So
social media is called the highlight reel, right?
Yeah.
People post the good stuff, but I've also found that as somebody who also coaches other business owners, and I have a social work background. I was a social worker. I ran support groups and therapeutic programming. So understanding that part of business, right? We can say it's not personal, it's just business,
Mm-hmm.
but we're all invested in our careers and our companies. It is emotional and it is personal.
It is personal, yeah. It's
Yeah.
I hate that expression.
In fact, the people that do it's personal, from the most personal and engaged point of view 90% of the time. They're just trying to cover it by the fact that they're trying to say, no, this is not against you. This is just business.
Right.
No, there's a lot of personal. There's a lot of whoever that person is that's going into that action or decision or whatever. You can't separate yourself from that.
No, you can't. It's in your DNA.
Especially
with me.
Especially he had to fit in the DNA thing that he does every show. Especially you guys were both on sort of in the same wavelength. Especially in the hotel industry.
Scary.
Yes.
You and Deena on the same wavelength? That is very scary. I think I might have to go get some Kevlar right now. But no,
we could conquer the world, Deena.
But honestly, yes, you're absolutely right, Deena. Very good point. Especially when it comes to this industry. I mean, we're talking somewhat generalities, but I want to bring us back to that commercial real estate and the hospitality factor. How does this stuff that we're talking about manifest itself specifically in this industry? Because it is a unique industry.
It's very unique. And Deena, we know why branding and marketing is critical for hotel properties and brands. Why do hospitality professionals need to market and brand themselves individuals? And how do they go about that? Because, a lot of the same people that I do. And we're gregarious, we're outgoing, we're friendly. It's hospitality. We're smiling. It's a good profession. It's a great profession. But how do you get those people to start marketing themselves?
So that's the thing, right? We can talk about marketing the brands and the properties and the hotels and the companies, but at the beginning and the end of the day, we do business with people we like and trust and respect. And how do we develop those relationships? In person, online. They say to make a sale, you need 7 touch points, right? Well, to build a relationship with somebody, it's not just one and done. It's not, I went to a cocktail party, I met you, and now you're my client. Or I met you, and now I sent you a LinkedIn invitation, and you're in my network, and you can help me, and I can help you. No. So, I use a dating analogy because it's the easiest one to understand.
Please.
That just like dating, business relationships require time and require effort. In real life, you wouldn't go on a blind date expecting a marriage proposal right then and there on your first date. And I say this as a single woman, it would be nice, but it wouldn't. It would be creepy.
Yeah, well, that would be.
Actually, that should be like the first red flag for you to run out the door.
Yeah.
I love you. Can we run away together? We just said hello.
No.
Craig, you posted something the other day that was really funny. You said, just because I said hi doesn't mean I want to have a lifetime relationship.
Something like that, yeah. You know how I am with my T-shirts. I always have to say something, so.
And you've started putting that on your social media, and that reflects your sense of humor. So if somebody doesn't know you well, they at least know you've got a sense of humor. Right, Rod, you're all about design. That's your business. It's your passion. It's your life, whether it's clothing, interiors, product. Your aesthetic is gorgeous. Before I met you, I noticed that. And because I work with designers and I appreciate good design, that first impression told me a lot about you in an authentic way. And then I got to know you, and it, of course, supported the impression that you put out there for people who haven't met you yet. So, again, it's layers. You can't just go to an event and say, okay, now I'm in the industry. For me, it was going to my first hotel conference, my second hotel conference, my third. It was getting my clients to speak at conferences. It was getting press for my clients and for myself. It was asking for advice and building relationships and joining organizations and getting on committees and doing volunteer work. And I recommend this to all my clients, whether you're straight out of school or whether you've been in the industry for 20, 30 years. It really is about getting involved, making an impact, what your skills are, and being of service, right? The hospitality industry is a service business.
Yes,
so
it
if
is.
you look at it as from your own point of view, whether you're an architect, a lawyer, a deal maker, finance, how are you servicing your clients? And beyond that, how are you servicing the industry? So in my case, whenever I go to an event, I will always talk to that guy or that woman who's standing by themselves in the corner and say, come here, I'm going to introduce you. Even if I only know one person, I'm still going to introduce them to that person I know and make sure they're having a great time. But, you know, an hour later, I'll know everybody.
And the interesting thing about when it comes to the hotel industry, I mean, actually in life in general, for that matter, since the hotel industry is not just this thing that you interact with as a product or a service, it is actually a place where you stay, you set your head down, you wake up in the morning, you go through steps of, you know, daily living, if you will, in an environment that maybe is not your own roof over your head. But the thing about it is, you know, we throw around the word experience in the industry quite a bit, okay? And it's all about the experience, and you know, it's all about the experience. The interesting thing sometimes is that we relate to that word as if it is this inanimate object that basically is out there to be absorbed. The experience is everything. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, okay? It's not who you are by the virtue, I mean, and this is California, right? So the first two questions, what do you drive and what do you do for a living, right? But if you do that, you're not getting it. And trust me, you know, I mean, you hit on it, is that is an unsustainable situation. If you put in that 8x10 glossy out there, okay, first of all, people are friggin' jaded and overexposed, and they will sniff fake a mile away these days. Secondly, you won't be able to sustain that 8x10. At some point, you're going to basically let your guard down, and that's when people will basically see the true use. So from the very beginning, take the time through your own due diligence, or with the help of somebody who's an expert, who is experienced by actually doing, not just by having opinions on the topic, right?
Exactly.
By actually doing, somebody like Deena, who basically would guide you. In a way, your social worker side of things, Deena, is almost like you got to take a person through who are you, what do you stand for. When the lights are off 9 to 5, what are you engaged in? You can't claim to be socially conscious if you're basically not doing that in your after hours, okay? You can't claim integrity and authenticity if all you can do is be fake and hanging at the bars in the evenings. You know what I mean? There's, you know, and you gotta fashion who you are with your brand, because this day and age, I don't care if you are a CEO in a company where somebody's cutting you a check at the end of the month, or you're a person that works for yourself. If you have any kind of social media footprint, you are a brand, and you need help making sure that you're not projecting the wrong image unintentionally or accidentally.
You've always got to be worried about the optics, and it's, you know, you're right, whether it's personally or professionally or a combination of the two. You know, Deena and I were having a conversation yesterday, and I'd mentioned to her, I said, you know, Larry Broughton and Broughton Hotels are, you know, very good at doing that cross marketing between, you know, the person and the company. And is that because they're a boutique lifestyle company? Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it, and I also think it has a lot to do with Larry's personality. And you know, Shane over there runs their social media campaigns, and he does a great job. And you know, like I'd mentioned yesterday, Deena 24/7's doing a great job on that. And the person over there, I didn't have her name yesterday, so I kept thinking about it. It's Allison. And Allison does a wonderful job over there, and I know that, you know, Broughton pays attention to what they're doing, and vice versa, and other companies are looking at it as well. And it's one of those things where, and I don't mean to quibble with you, but I think there's more than 7 touch points now when you're trying to get engaged with somebody. I think it's almost like 12 at this point. It's you know, you've got to know something personal, you've got to engage them, you've got to follow up, you've got to be authentic, you've got to, you know, have a sincere, you know, aura about you and various other things.
And those touches have to come faster.
They do, a lot faster. Now, Deena, are you still preaching to people about an elevator speech, or has that gone by the wayside now?
I've
It's now
never pitched, you know, and I.
Well, not you personally. I'm saying in general.
You're in the elevator. You have 10 seconds to connect. I look at it as connecting with someone, so I would call it a fireball pitch. And again,
like
just
that.
Like anything,
So she's all about branding. She just branded her own pitch.
Yeah, of course, fireball pitch. It's like you have your show, Check Out California. My show is the Fireball Hot Seat. Hot topics in the Fireball Hot Seat. When I interview guests and clients, which I will do with you guys the next time I'm in Cali, because you know I'm coming back.
Are you?
But, of course.
Oh, okay.
Well, so but let's just.
He's starting to sweat in the hot
first?
seat.
I know you guys. let me organize, because there's all these ideas and I'm very good at organizing them, and I want our listeners to be able to follow us. It may be hard because we're talkers and we get each other, but one of your points being an elevator pitch, right? What you say to somebody the first time you meet them, you're not truly delivering a sales pitch the first time you meet somebody. Like when you and I spoke, I remember that we had arts and entertainment in common. I remember you came from title insurance and I worked with the real estate industry.
Right.
I don't remember who you actually worked for back then, and it wasn't as relevant, quite frankly.
Absolutely it wasn't.
You have one chance to make a first impression, but you also have many, many more chances to make a second and third and fourth and fifth impression.
Right.
So a sales pitch might be useful for your tagline. Like I'm looking at your screen, check out California, your key to California hospitality. That sort of encapsulates what you are. When we came up with the tagline, invest in California for Click, I came up with that because this is there's like snow falling and making noise. But that was what your goal is, getting people
we
to
call
invest.
that ash over here.
Pardon me?
We call that ash over here when there's fires, but
no, I mean like boulders falling. Like when you see something literally drop from the window and you're not sure what it is.
Yeah.
That's what that was. So excuse me for that. But in any case, that's the idea of how do you describe yourself in different ways. It's not just one sentence.
No, it's
right?
not. It's far more. It's got to be more in depth.
No. And this is what I teach. And can I give you a really good example?
Please,
go ahead.
So when I was asked to moderate a panel on crowdsourcing for hotels at the North American Hotel Investment Conference.
And let me interrupt you for a second, Deena. She did such a great job about that. And Tim Edgar, who was one of the sponsors at the California Lodging Investment Conference, called me right after he got off the stage with her. Because I told him, I said, oh, I know Deena. She's great. You're going to love her, blah, blah, blah. And he called me back and goes, you didn't tell me how dynamic she is, how wonderful she is. She had it organized together. It's the best panel I've ever been on. So congratulations on it, Deena. You need to do more so you'll be at Click next year. So sorry to interrupt.
Well, part of it was when I was asked if people knew my reputation in the industry, and I said, well, I don't actually know that much about crowdsourcing, but as a moderator, you're bringing people together. You're like the project manager. And as a presentation coach, I know how to tell a story and put together something that will be of interest to the audience. And because I got invited and because I checked in with some of my colleagues who said, yes, you should do it, go ahead, the first night they had the cocktail party reception before the full day. And I'm working the room and talking to people. And these three young people, they came up to me and said, hi, we're students at DePaul University.
Okay.
And there's a student contingent, and they impressed me because they came up to me. Honestly, if they hadn't, I would have gone up to talk to them because I love working with students and I feel like we should pay it forward and help them. But they were very dynamic and confident and took the initiative to talk to me. And they said, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a networking coach and a presentation coach, and I am moderating a panel. And they said, oh, we have the competition. We're doing presentations with all the schools. There's a competition. Would you listen to our presentation and give us feedback? And I love the fact that they weren't pushy, but they were direct.
Yeah,
right.
I could have said yes, but they said, would you by any chance be willing to? And I said, I would love to. And that night, with their professor and with the whole team, I went through their whole presentation. To their credit, we spent 3 hours redoing it the night before. And this, comes from theater training and theater background. And it was an amazing experience for me and for them. I built this incredible relationship with DePaul. I am still to this day friends with these students who have all graduated, have amazing jobs. We stay in touch because of Facebook. We have calls. We Skype. And this has been 4 years already?
Something like
relationships.
That,
4 years? So whether you're 17, 18, 19 years old, or whether you're later in your career, asking for what you need, asking for advice, asking for help, and also offering to give back in return, obviously. But like I say, you never know how the next person you meet could change your life.
Exactly.
That's how I live. That's my motto.
Deena, it's funny because what we don't do, I think, and it's not limited to hospitality. I think it's in fact it probably does more. It happens more in hospitality than other industries. But one of the things that we don't do in the cultivation and development of people. Okay, I mean, we used to have movies that had very well written character roles and character development, right? And it actually had a story, and it actually connected, and
beginning, a middle, and an end.
And a middle and an end. We actually used to live in a world that actually had more than just sizzle, but actually also steak. Okay, for those who are the meat eaters, right? But what I think it's funny is we live in a world where academics, everything, it tries to put people through a certain procedure, a certain process. And there's a reason for it, because there's a consistency of possible outcome. If you put A, B, and C people through the process, the likelihood at the end is that you end up with a certain kind of at least minimum result. But what we don't do, which is sad, is that we basically do not take the time, and this happens in companies as well, to take that person and individually highlight the strength in them and help them basically rise to a different level for a multitude of reasons.
You're right about that on a lot of different levels. You don't do personality tests. You don't see what their strengths and their weaknesses are. Broughton Hotels does, and when I was over there, there was before I started, there was a barrage of tests to take, and I hadn't gone through that in a while. I really found it fascinating, and then we went over what everything meant, and they said, you're going to fit in perfectly here, and it was Greg, it's not only, I don't think it's only that it's a kind of a litmus test of whether you will fit in that organization or not. I think what it is, it's smart business. Yeah,
you may have some latent talents that basically have never had a chance to basically be cultivated or developed that would have a direct result.
That's frightening.
Yeah, I know.
That's just
I know.
simply
As I was saying, I was saying that I actually kind of like start shaking in my seat, right?
As you should.
Right. But with that being said, and because I'm a Rick, we'll continue the conversation, is that basically those talents could be really instrumental in a paradigm shift to the company. I mean, you may have nuggets under your own nose, but because you're trying to fit everybody into the same funnel, you don't end up with that. And the true ground where that really is showcased is when you have a situation where somebody takes the time to develop that person's message, to take the time to help them discover those inner voices in them that have not been necessarily squashed, but have not been given a chance to come up.
Well, you also need to stop arguing with your inner voices, okay? You need to go with the
because
flow.
Guess what? They don't go away. All they do is get louder.
Exactly. Now, and that's where I've always said, I think Deena is always,
my inner voice right now is sounding a lot like Deena.
There it is.
Your inner voice wants to say something.
Okay, go for it, Deena.
Right. But it really is, and I say this as somebody whose career has been equal parts coaching and training and marketing and branding. So both the internal and the external in an organization. And what we talk about is truly leveraging an individual's strengths, leveraging a team's strengths. If, sports is a great analogy. I don't play sports. You don't want me on your basketball team. You don't want me on your volleyball team. I'm very short. I'm not good at that. You want me as a cheerleader. I'm great at that. However, if we take that obvious analogy and then we put it in the business world and we try to force people into roles that they're not actually suited for, that's where we have trouble. But if we take time to truly develop talent, starting from graduates, undergrads, graduates, a lot of people make career transitions. The hotel industry is great for people who are making transitions as long as they have some. Companies really need to put more time and energy and money into that training and development because it will pay off for the business, right?
So here's
in the hotel industry, your talent, your people are your business.
So here's the irony of our today's living, okay? That is absolutely more and more critical, okay, for the individual success, both on a career path and on a personal path, right? Yeah. This nugget we were just talking about, this need to elevate people, to bring out their strength, is the absolute critical thing that is going to make or break somebody's career path, is going to make or break somebody's relationships, okay? Yeah. And yet, at the same time, need to take, and there's no shortcut, the time to do this. You maybe are more efficient in the use of time to get there quicker if you have guidance and a mentorship or somebody taking you down that path, that journey, right? To get to that certain point. At the same time that we need this the most is the time when we are just moving faster and faster and time is less and less. So how do we convince people? How do we register with people that don't live in that reality and awareness? How super critical this is for their own brand, for their own development, for repositioning of their own property, for the success of their business in an increasingly competitive world. How do we get that to register?
I think we talk to the people that we know, start by preach to the converted, gather your team around, and try to make that case and make a business case for it, right? What will happen if you don't build your own skills? You will get left behind. What will happen if you don't build your team skills? They will get bored and they will leave, or they will stay and do a bad job.
Right.
What will happen if you don't bring with technology, design, whatever those financing, whatever elements there are, you will be left behind. And the reverse of it, because I do believe in the honey approach over the stick approach, is what can you imagine what can happen when you embrace change and embrace risk and innovation? Those companies that are the most successful innovate the most, that have diverse leadership, that move forward.
I remember doing the CD set by Tony Robbins way back in like mid-90s. I can't even remember what it was called, Power something or the other. And the one thing that registered with me that was loud and clear, and it's very true, people are motivated by minimizing pain. Unfortunately, that's the DNA of a lot of people. It's that we're gonna do something because I don't want to basically get hurt or whatever, right? So I remember him saying, what if you actually had a paradigm shift in your thinking where your motivation wasn't to minimize pain, but was to minimize pleasure? And I know what you're
you don't know what I'm thinking. I'm sort of agreeing with what you're having to say, but my caveat is this, that what if every decision you make comes from a position of pain?
Well, that's a reflection of what your life is going to be all about, isn't it?
I mean, you could have two possibilities. I could have, chocolate mousse for dessert, or I could have cheesecake with a chocolate sauce. They're both pleasurable, but which one do I want? And it's the agony of the decision. And
that's an abundance of riches. That's not.
Well, I would eat. I would eat both.
Agony and ecstasy.
I would eat both of them unless I'm lactose intolerant, and I would avoid.
There you go. Hey, Deena, what about a story, a memorable networking story where you can change the names to protect the guilty?
Yeah, I tend to go with the positive ones. Like when I met you, when I met the students and the teachers from DePaul University, I can't really focus on negative ones.
No, I don't want a negative one. I just want a story where you can change the names to protect the guilty.
Where I changed the names. Well, I did have one experience where I was at a networking event and walked up to this gentleman and said, what do you do? And he said, I'm in real estate. It was a real estate conference. What kind of real estate? Commercial real estate. It was a commercial real estate conference. I said, well, what specifically do you do in commercial real estate? He said, I'm a lawyer. What's your area of expertise? Commercial real estate law. I said, who do you work with? Right?
You had to pry everything out of him.
So you should be able to ask for details. So this keeps on going. I said, who do you work with? He said, anyone. I said, could you be more specific? He said, anyone who will pay me.
Wow.
I said, that's great. And, enjoy your conference.
Was he having a bad day?
And I tell that story, the idea of having a conversation with somebody.
Right.
Being specific, right?
Engaging.
And having some social clue and social cues
right.
about how to interact. Now, I have been to another conference where there was a woman standing in the corner by herself. She wasn't rude, but she was obviously an introvert. And I went up to talk to her, and we had the most interesting conversation. She invited me to meet for coffee a week or two later. We ended up meeting for an hour and a half. That was about 10 years ago. She's now one of my best clients, my best friends. She's the owner of an engineering firm. It's a MWBE, MEP firm. They do great work. And really, you know, appreciating differences. I'm a total extrovert. She's a total introvert.
Yeah.
Understanding and appreciating people's differences when you're putting a team together, when you're on a committee,
right.
when you're networking, when you need advice, when you're planning a party. I truly believe in that diversity and differences is what will make the difference to a business, to an individual. It's really
Diversity is always wonderful.
Diversity is always a wonderful thing, even though we live in seemingly in a world that basically is very hesitant to embrace it sometimes, and sadly so, because that diversity, that depth of background, that uniqueness of story and skills that are brought in, you know, all of our skills to a certain extent are a product, I believe, of both learning but also of experience. And that individual experience is different for Greg, is different for me, is different for Paul, is different for you. So to bring in that individual's experience and have it play out and have it find a place, because I mean, not everybody needs to be an extrovert. Not everybody needs to be an introvert. It's just to thy own self be true, but then to be in an environment that actually not only reviews you for being yourself, but also celebrates your diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's very valid. Now that just sparks a question with me. We're in Orange County. Shouldn't this be Beige County? I mean, everything around here is painted a sand or a beige color.
And yet there was a report. In that was put together by UCLA and UCI about 2000 and I think it was 15 maybe or 14 that basically talked about change. So you know,
hey, they let me in.
Well, you've been here for a while, so I think that had probably a lot to do with it. It's the chicken or the egg. But you know, let's talk. Let's just go back to this thing, because I think in this increased market, okay, I find sometimes, Deena, and that. Do you have, well, I should ask you the question. Do you feel that certain size or what makes certain companies more receptive to hear the message?
Yeah.
And other ones not? Does it have to do with leadership per se, position in market? What, from your own personal experience, I'm asking?
Public or privately held?
Is there, what is it that makes people, is it out of dire need because they're basically behind the eight ball? What makes them more acceptable than the others?
In my experience, the younger the company, I don't mean age, but I mean a newer company, an entrepreneur, a startup, will be more nimble and will be more open to innovation and ideas. I don't do a lot of work with huge corporations because it doesn't fit my skill set or my attitude. I'm an entrepreneur. I've had my company for 9 years. I've worked for other entrepreneurs. My grandmother had her own business. My great-grandmother had her own business. So for me, that control and that sense of taking initiative and being innovative, those are the companies that are the most adaptable and the most open. At the same time, they may also be a little more risk averse because they only have limited resources and they can't afford to fail the way a big company would. And we had this conversation last night at the Association for Talent Development, where, and one of the people that are really good said, you know, the smaller the company and the smaller the budget, the more likely they are to be innovative, because they can't waste $100,000 on a product. They have to develop it themselves.
Innovative and efficient.
Figure out how to make it more efficient.
Right.
So, you know, if you have 15 minutes to get a job done, you'll figure out a way to get it done in 15 minutes. If you have an hour and a half. So at least in my experience, the ones who are the most innovative tend to at least have an entrepreneurial attitude, or that creative people get bored doing the same thing over and over again. That's me,
exactly.
From theater. So throw creative people into the teams. You always need those somebody to put some balances and say we only have X amount of time or we only have X budget, but give them the environment, give them the freedom, and give them the support to do as much as they can.
You
within
empower
those
them.
confines.
Yes, absolutely.
Just blow open the status quo. I mean, one of the approaches that I cannot stand is we've always done it that way, so let's keep doing it that way because I'm an innovator and I'm a creative.
Don't fix it.
When I'm in a situation where I'm given freedom to introduce new ideas, at least have a conversation about them and do an analysis, that's where we will all thrive.
But that also, unless you're in the right environment, okay, that scares the living daylights out of people that are basically have sense we have achieved and we can sustain ourselves at this level without having to stretch anymore. And I think it scares the living daylights out of people when somebody comes in that is not restricted or fettered by these sort of constraints and basically thinks outside the box. And in a way, there's more risk when it's a smaller company or entrepreneurial company, but it's also out of necessity. I mean, I have been fortunate to have people in my life that will talk me off the ledge.
Yeah.
But what I have learned from that, because of the way they do it and the relationships that I have with these people, is that they don't stop me from going to the ledge. In fact, when I step on the ledge, no, they won't push me. There are times when they will, right? They will push me because it's like you wait a minute, why aren't you on the ledge yet? Right?
Exactly.
But I think again, it all starts with really taking the time to really get to know yourself, whether on your own doing your own brutal due diligence about who you are, or having somebody guide you. And this applies to you as a person, applies to you as a company, applies to you as a part of a team. Right.
Or an individual, whatever it may be.
And it's you have the guts to take the risk. Nobody's saying be irresponsible about it.
No, not at all.
But the minute you lose that in an increasingly competitive business, whether you are a company or an individual or a business owner, you are at a disadvantage.
You are. And I think there's a report out that 60% of the American workforce they are disengaged. And they feel that a lot of that has to do with a lack of education and leadership. You've constantly got to be looking for the leaders in the group and to give them their due, give them their opportunity to take over and do things.
Yeah, but you know what, Craig? That also there's sort of a little bit of an abdication here. We've kind of drank the Kool-Aid, right? If you're looking at I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think the way it manifests itself, right, is that you're talking about you're looking for that leadership to guide you. You're looking for that education to elevate you, right? We've been sold a bit of a bill of goods, is that it's somebody else who's going to get me out of this by leading me.
No, it's,
right?
I think these days, right, people learn on their own. There is so much out there.
And the path doesn't have to be the same.
Anything at any time of day, video, podcast, radio, Skillshare, CourseHorse, LinkedIn. I mean, there's no shortage of sources to go to learn. It may be that it's information overload, and it is a combination of what do I want to learn? What kind of courses do I want to take for my own skill set? So, for example, I took drawing and illustration courses because I wanted to be able to design some graphics for my business and for some ideas I have without needing a degree in graphic design or needing Photoshop. I wanted to draw them by hand. Like, if this is my work of art after 2 glasses of wine on a paint night. But the point being,
I think you need to incorporate that as an event at Click 3.
I think so, yeah.
I think.
Yeah. But the point being, what do you want to learn? Why do you want to learn it? And how will it benefit your life or your career?
Right.
And then which of those skills can you learn on your own? Which of those skills should your company or could your company provide?
Right.
And that's also innovation, right? You could say, well, my company won't pay for my membership at Crew, or my company won't pay for me to go to a conference.
Then you
and
pay
I used
for
to
it
get
yourself.
mad at people who would say that. I would say invest in
yourself.
own career.
Exactly.
Let me bring this back to the hospitality industry, which is interesting. It just dawned on me. Okay, so we have an industry that traditionally has been one where people have grown from one role to the other.
Correct.
By organically being in the organization, going from one role to the other, starting off at the front desk or maybe even valet, working their way up, and that used to be the old school path.
Correct.
Right? And then we went down the path of everybody going to an academic background, getting the skill set on a 4-year degree or a 6-year degree, doing an internship, working, and then basically entering at a different level. And I'm not saying one is right or not.
Right.
But I will have to tell you, you can totally tell the difference in most cases, not right or wrong, where somebody's background and path has been this one or the other one, and there's a place for both in the industry.
There is. And
but
you know what?
one does not overcome the other.
No,
It's like
it does
one
not.
is not less than the other.
But you know, the thing that's really great about the hotel business, you look at, I've got a buddy of mine, John, he and his family had several properties up in Santa Monica, tore them down, and built the Shore Hotel. Okay, he was at Cornell while construction was going on, but he kept an eye on it every day. Okay, video feeds, everything else. Brought up the hotel business, understood that, you know, it's a cash business and it's a real estate play. And, you know, we need to get to an institutional grade standing so that we've got more opportunities of capital, more opportunities to grow the company, and so on and so forth. So, you know, these people that have this hybrid of being born into the industry and, you know, scrubbing toilets, changing sheets, you know, vacuuming and doing everything around, you know, mom and pop's first motel, and then going into branded properties and seeing that, and then going off to get an education, whether
They
it's
have both
at
of
the
it.
Collins School here at Cal Poly Pomona or at Cornell, or and no relationship at the Sullivan School back in the Southeast, you know, any of those places. Yeah, they're the brightest and the best. They really are. And our industry attracts the brightest and the best of all the various food groups in commercial real estate.
And everybody at any level, I mean, this is sort of a bigger conversation than just our industry, but a reflection of the time that we are in, right? And when we went down the path where we bought into the fact that everybody goes and gets an education, a college education, they incur like $50,000 to $100,000 in debt, then they go out and they basically now are trying to figure out a way to have a family, buy a house, and do all of this stuff, change cars every 3 years. And it's interesting that we stepped away from the mentorship and the apprenticeship and the crafts development and all of this stuff, and now we find ourselves in a situation
we need that again. It's critical.
where we need that again. It's critical,
Yeah.
and we have also an aging population. So you have people that are transitioning out of the workforce where we don't have enough people to fill it, and we are basically needing to develop these skill sets. So again, it is constantly changing, and a person who does not constantly be in that state of mind of absorbing, changing, modifying, rebranding, reinventing,
Right.
you know, boomers, encore careers, you know, pursuit of passion, but doing it in a manner that is true reflection of who you are, to thy own self be true. If you are behind the eight ball. You're frustrated. You're feeling like there's something that's not connecting, right? Don't look at me like that. Why are you looking at me like that? Okay.
I'm just
You know,
visioning him as being a Walmart greeter when he retires. That's why.
Yeah. But Rod, it's
You know what?
interesting what you're
It'll be
saying.
Deena and I. It's going to be like a duo show.
Right, but we also have that in common. You do aging in place, and I worked in long-term care facilities. And when I was a social worker, I specialized in geriatric care.
Yeah.
And so if you look at what was done then and what's done now, one of my favorite companies is WeWork.
Yeah.
That we
We had
would
a
not
great
have
conversation
conceived
about
of
that,
WeWork 20 years ago, a co-working space where you can rent the worry about everything else. They have We Live and We Rise and We Well. Looking at shared, other types of shared facilities and bringing people together in different ways. Airbnb, nobody would have imagined that
Uber,
20 years
wow.
ago either.
Yeah.
No, but right, like what Uber and Lyft and Via and the shared economy, couch surfing. I personally would not couch surf, but I know people who do. So if you think about it, how is the world changing? What kind of innovations are coming out? I dance. I love dance classes. I don't really work out on my own at home, but one of the fastest growing segments of the fitness industry is online classes, streaming workouts, whether it's a personal trainer, customized, whether you can join a live class. You buy a membership and it comes into your living room. Now, also living in New York City, our living rooms are this big, but it still is an incredible business model. This was inconceivable. Also, even 10 years ago, the technology might not have been there, but I can stream anything from my phone.
And yet there will never be the day, I may sound like an old wreck here, but there will never be the day that the skill set of personal, in-your-face, in-person interaction, be able to have a conversation, to be able to engage with somebody, not just be connected through social media. There will never come the day where that handshake will be meaningless.
That's right. I agree. Hey,
Agreed.
Deena, we got to wrap up. the 2-minute signal here, and I've got a long list of people to thank, including you, for being on the show today. It was really a pleasure. Love to have you back, especially the next time you are behind the orange curtain and come into the studio.
Okay, I'll be back
But
soon.
I want to thank Rad Gantos and Associates for sponsoring today's show. I want to thank Partis General Contractors and Chris Hostert and Ed La Civita, the principals over there, for sponsoring the show. And then, you know, Deena's joining the Click family. She's going to be part of the 3rd Annual California Lodging Investment Conference. Rad will be back next year. I need to thank all of our sponsors and exhibitors for making this show. We took it to a new level, and, you know, that was my biggest fear. Were we going to live up to expectations or not? And I warned Rad while he was designing the stage, okay, I'm in overload mode. I need you to send me stuff. And excuse me for being an ill-minded person at the time. But I got to tell you, we surpassed my expectations. The reviews have been, you know, coming in really great for the conference. And I want to thank the All-Star Group, RAR Hospitality, Park West General Contractors, Atlas Hospitality Group, Bronton Hotels, Fidelity Mortgage Lenders, Inc., Hotel Investor, Acquire, Arthur J. Gallagher, AHOA, Pacific Premier Bank, Partner Engineering and Science, Best Western Hotels and Resorts, Azul Hospitality Hotels and Resorts, JCJ Architecture, Red Roof Inn, Red Roof Plus, Cal Poly Pomona, the Collins Hotel School of Hotel Management, Bronton Management, no vacancy with the Messiah Glenn Houseman, Lodging Finance, Choice Hotels, Wyndham Hotels, East GLK Analytics, Intercontinental Hotel Group, CLIA, California Lodging Industry Association, Crew Real Estate Group, Walker and Dunlop, Independent Lodging Industry Association, JMBM. Jim Butler's Meet the Money is in May, and I will be seeing you there along with various people that have been at our conference the other week. Hotel Management Magazine, Crew OC, Stacy Steeman, thank you. First American Title Insurance Company, Latino Hotel Owners Association, Cost Resource, Taiwanese Hotel Owners Association of Southern California, TMC Finance, Logic Econometrics, Bruce Ford hit it out of the park, Pacifica Capital and Brokerage, Nevada Fitness Systems, and Chicago Title Insurance, their national hospitality group. Thank you all for making the 2nd Annual California Lodging Investment Conference a success, and most of all to our attendees.
And if you want to be like Deena, you can't be. You can't be like Deena.
No,
sorry.
she's one of a kind.
Sorry, the mold was broken, and we won't allow it. That category is taken.
No,
but
there's only one Fireball. Only one. And I don't care what that bottle of alcohol says. There is only one Fireball.
Really, we're going to get sued now by product placement, wrong product placement. So,
We'll talk sponsorship.
But you know what, Deena, just work on that, will you, please? Let's get some alcohol in here, sponsored by you. Okay. What I was going to say is, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, contact us at checkoutcalifornia@gmail.com, just like it sounds, or drop us a note on Facebook at the Checkout California page. You can call me, 949-212-8299.
Or you can call Paul at the studio.
Or you can call the studio. What's the number for? They can write
949-330-7760. 949-330-7760. Operators standing by.
And I want to apologize to Mr. Glenn Hausman for sticking him with the name Messiah, but sorry, buddy, it's stuck now, so you got to live with it.
It's in his DNA.
It's in his DNA now. And I want to just say that, Greg, you know, apropos to the conversation we're having. Okay, you had a fear or worry about the second click, not basically, you know, like we had some expectations, you're going to reach a certain height, right? Sorry, but that's what happens when you excel. When you set the bar high on the first year, right?
Set it higher again for next year.
Exactly. So that speaks to what we were talking about. Do not be afraid to basically reach for excellence. Yes, you're pace yourself, but you got people like Deena, you got people that are around you that will help you get there. So reach out to them. Deena, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
It's always a blast. So enjoy your snow.
Oh, thanks.
And we look forward to having you.
You got the fireplace going?
It's a fireball.
You have fireplaces in New York City apartments.
I know.
I mean, listen, I have set fires in my kitchen. That's another reason they call
That's
it fire.
another whole show.
So tune in next month for Deena and the Culinary Show on the Check Out California.
Cooking with fire.
Cooking with fireballs. Thanks, Deena. Have a great weekend.
One last thing. I want to thank Rad. He did a great job on the stage and took it to a whole new level. And
Thank you, sir.
It was impressive. When you got it all put together, I just sat there and stared at it. It was absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we were kind of very tired, so we kind of just stared.
Yeah.
Deena, it was meeting you. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye, Deena.
Everybody.
Hey, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our guest today on Checkout California. We look forward to having you as a guest with us again in 2 weeks. Until then, you can always reach us through our Checkout California Facebook page or by emailing us at checkoutcalifornia@gmail.com.